what I'm going to work on today is I've got a couple of cutting boards here that need to be reconditioned. They say that it's good practice to recondition these once a month, right around once a month. This one's never been reconditioned. And this one, it's been a couple of months and it's looking a little beat up. So I'm going to go ahead and give these light sanding just to get any scuffs off and knock it down a little bit. And then I'm going to add some more mineral oil and some more beeswax. And we'll see if I can't get these cleaned up a bit. So that's today's video. So let's get to it. So this cutting board was made by our neighbor that lives across the street, Arl Hunter, and you can barely see where he burned in, handcrafted by Arl. Can't really see the Arl that well, but I didn't want to go over that when I was sanding this side, so I left that alone. But we've had this cutting board for several years, and this is the first time that we've ever done any conditioning to it. And it's side grain. It's not an end grain cutting board, and you can see that you can barely see the cut marks in it. Side grain is fine for just general around the house use. End grain, obviously is really nice, but there are YouTubers that will tell you that the only people that have end grain cutting boards are woodworkers and their family. That nobody else has them. Everybody else has side grain. I don't know if that's true or not, but I bet it's close. So that was one of the determining factors that I used when I created this cutting board. This is the very first cutting board that I've ever done, and it's side grain as well. So let me get this cleaned up a little bit and get this area cleaned up a little bit, and I'll get to conditioning. Anyway, let's see what this cutting board would look like with a little bit of mineral oil. So that looks pretty good. I'm not sure what species that he used in this. I can see there's some oak and there's some walnut. Got some oak over here and we've got some walnut. Looks like this might be mahogany. I'm not sure what this is. And some maple. And it looks like he made it symmetrical. So whatever he has on the left, he has on the right. I guess I ought to ask him what he used, but it's a good looking cutting board. So I'm just going to let that soak in, and I'll determine if I need to give it another go with some additional mineral oil, or if I'm just going to go straight to the beeswax. But that's where we are right now. So I'll probably take this in a different location and get it sanded down, and then I'll bring it back over here and do the same thing. Okay, I think I'm gonna let that soak in, give it another coat. I'm gonna do the same to the other one as well. Just let it kind of soak in, and then let that dry on the surface, and then I'll come back with some beeswax. All right, while I'm waiting for this to soak in, I'm gonna take a guess at what species he has here, and I'm not sure. And you guys, if you know, correct me in the comments, but I'm thinking that this is red oak, white oak, hickory, walnut, maple, mahogany, maple, and maybe purple heart. I'm not sure on that one. And then, you know, the same thing going the opposite direction. But if you guys know, let me know in the comments what you think it is or what you know it is. I know what this one is. I know I've got maple and paddock maple, and then the rest is that piece of walnut that I had. So we'll let that soak in a little bit more, and once it's dry on the surface, you can see it's still wet. Once it's dry on the surface, I'll come back and wipe it down, give it another session of mineral oil, and then I'll finish it off with some beeswax. Alright, got a second helping of cutting board oil. So got them up on these standoffs here. Make it a little bit easier to do both sides without smudging the bottom. So I'll just let those soak in, and once the surface is dry, I'm going to hit it with some beeswax. But you can already see pretty much what it's going to look like. I think both of these boards look pretty good with a little bit of restoring. Okay, I ended up bringing these guys inside. When they were out in the garage, it was just too cold for the mineral oil to soak in. Since I brought them into my office, it's been working a lot better. So I'm gonna put some beeswax on these guys and see how that works out. Alright, I got a first coat of beeswax on both boards, and I think they really look pretty nice. You know, they've both got some use in them. A little bit of knife scarring, but that's what they're for, right? I think they look pretty good. So we'll do this again every month or so, and see if we can't keep them conditioned, make them look nice a lot longer. So that's it for this week's video. I'll talk to you guys later.